So we're going to hear first from Marie-Josèphe de Villiers. She's from France. She's co-president of the International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogate Motherhood.
I will talk today about the similarity between the two systems, the one prostitution and surrogacy. But let me first introduce the organization I belong to. It's called International, as Joe said, it's called International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogate Motherhood. It's a feminist body. And our aim is to contribute to abolish surrogacy at national and international level. We have so far 36 organization members. I'm very pleased to be here with two of them, Ghislaine Gendron from PDF Quebec and Renate Klein from Finrage in Australia. Apart from Canada and Australia, we have members in Japan, Colombia, Sweden, Romania, Austria, UK, Belgium, Italy, Spain, and France. Since our creation in 2018 at the International Coalition for the Abolition of Surrogacy, we have been struck by the similarities between the two systems of women exploitation, the prostitution system and surrogacy. I'm going to approach these similarities from three angles: the question of health, the question of the market, and the question of the beneficiaries. First, let's make very clear that surrogacy is not a medical practice. It shouldn't be classified as an assisted reproductive technology. Does surrogacy cure anyone? No, it does not heal the commissioning parents. It does not cure the surrogate mother. It does not cure infertility. The only truly medical step is the use of IVF in countries with a sophisticated medical technology. And the surrogate mother is a woman in good health. Without any desire to have a baby, she will undergo intensive medical treatment and risk her life. She must waive most of her rights during the pregnancy. Surrogacy is a social and commercial practice of selling a double product, a child and parentage, in favor of the commissioning parents. Surrogacy is therefore a medical violence against surrogate mothers and not a medical solution. But there are also other forms of violence. There are emotional abuse, risk and anxiety or depression, and this violence. Surrogacy is using economic inequalities to exploit women. Commissioning parents are used to negotiating price and also services. For example, commissioning parents may want twins to save money. 2 twins are much cheaper than 2 children born separately, but twin pregnancy are at risk for any pregnant women. Contract violence. Contracts make it possible to impose practices that limit the surrogate mother's individual freedom, what she eats, movement, access to abortion, or sexual relationships. Everything can be imposed by contract on the surrogate mother. There are also physical violence, trafficking in human beings for the purpose of reproduction exists. I will talk about it later. In terms of violence, what are the most obvious similarities between prostitution and surrogacy? There are 3 to us. Economic and social inequality between clients and women involved in prostitution or surrogate mother is one of them. Contract violence. As soon as there is a monetary transaction, the power belongs to the clients. Dissociation, the phenomenon of dissociation, which is well known among women involved in prostitution, is also experienced by surrogate mothers. Brokers provide psychological support to enable them to cope with this situation. Here is what a researcher says about the surrogate mothers. They draw this line on their body between the personal self and the detached womb. And surrogate mother says, I feel that this is not even part of my body. I feel as if this pregnancy is happening next to me, but not inside me. Surrogate mothers seem to dissociate themselves from their pregnancy, to protect themselves, and probably not to be at odds with their own value. Now, the market. Every month, market studies present surrogacy as a new El Dorado. Here is one of these ads promoted on social media. It should be stressed here that surrogacy is in no way a cure for infertility. Infertility is a public health issue that calls for action at a global level. The market offers individual solutions to the detriment of surrogate women. Let's remember that surrogacy is an industry based on two products, the baby and parentage. Here we are brokers, medical and chemical industry. They are there for the child or the product. You've got lawyers, and they are there for the contract and parentage. You may be surprised to find banks involved in this industry, but they offer to finance the costs of surrogacy. Stakeholders in the surrogacy market are far removed from those of prostitution, but the similarities are at two levels: recruitment of surrogate mothers and trafficking. Here are classified ads on a job site in the United States, Craigslist. The recruitment of surrogates and women for prostitution uses exactly the same rhetoric. Earn a lot of money easily, earn a lot of money with your looks. It's for egg donors. And once recruited, the women end up in a catalog. On the left, it's a catalog to choose the egg donor. And on the right, it's a catalog for prostitution. About trafficking. The issue of trafficking is a subject of our next study on surrogacy and migration that we are launching in partnership with the European Network of Migrant Women, but we are already aware of some examples. Here you are, examples in Burma, in Greece, in Ukraine, and with this very, very sad example about Ukraine and Cyprus, north of Cyprus, a gray area, where they send surrogate mothers first for embryo transfer and then for delivery in order to avoid any restriction. Because in Cyprus, you can offer anything to the customer. Just that, for example, like they can choose the sex of the child, which is forbidden in Ukraine, for example. Last point, who are the beneficiary of the system? It's always the same. Surrogacy, it seems to be that it's men who are the main beneficiaries of these two systems, surrogacy and prostitution. In surrogate motherhood, the emphasis is on genetic parentage. Mostly, it seems that it is men who make this demand in the name of virility. It's a question of having a child from their own genes. What is highlighted in surrogacy is genetic parentage, but it's above all sperm parentage, as we could put it. Egg filiation, egg parentage is totally invisible and counts for nothing. And feminists have always sought to remove the social pressure on women to have children. With surrogate motherhood, this obligation is back, but it will involve more than one woman. It will involve the egg donor, the surrogate mother, and perhaps, maybe often, a nanny to raise the child. Here's the conclusion. We have here the two sides of the same coin. The surrogate mothers have to provide reproductive services and women in prostitution sexual services. In both cases, there is an attack on human dignity, equality between men and women, and on the free disposal of our bodies. In Spain and South America, feminists are used to linking prostitution and surrogacy in abolitionist days. They speak about reproductive and sexual exploitation, and reproductive exploitation covers surrogacy, egg harvesting, and forced pregnancy. Thank you for your attention, and here is our mail address if you want to know more about us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marie-Josèphe. And we're hoping to show a picture, which Bernadette's brilliantly showing right now. So this is a book that's, or maybe Marie-Josèphe, can you explain this book?
Yes.
Coming?
We are so delighted to announce that we're going to publish a book toward the abolition of surrogate motherhood, thanks to Spinifex, Renate Klein. We are publishing this book. It will probably be out in September, but Renate Klein will say more about it, I hope. I'm very grateful to Spinifex to publish this book.